Good evening, all of you. Welcome back to phase 2 of the enrichment test series program. So, okay, so this tells me you all have been able to access the Vajiram portal. Yes, Sachin, long time no see. Good evening, good evening. So, pre-COVID and post-COVID days is what we are living right now. Good evening, Shesh. My voice, okay, let me increase that. Okay, now you can hear me clearly now. Is my voice audible now? Okay, voice is fine. So welcome back, and just before we start off, I just want to request that please be patient. There are power outages at my place, so अगर बीच में बिजली चली जाए, so don't abandon, don't assume that the class is abandoned. Okay, so wait for some time. I'll get back and we'll continue from where we left, just in case. Okay, there is some power outage. How can you download the PDF of geographical thought from internet? Does anybody have the PDF of Majid Hussain Human Geography and the PDF of Sudipta Adhikari, and also for R.D. Dixit? Okay, so Sudarshan says he has the copy. ठीक है, आप मुझे फॉरवर्ड कर देना, टेलीग्राम पे डाल देना मेरे इसमें. I will, Sudarshan, any one of you can do that. Yes, and make sure that you are sharing the latest one. Okay, I think it is edition 5 for Human Geography Majid Hussain, and the second edition for Dixit, and also for Sudipta Adhikari. Okay. ठीक है, okay, कोई बात नहीं. Whatever pages we need for today's class, I've scanned those pages. You can write down the number, and maybe when you get your book back, or when you have the copy of the PDF, you can read through and mark on your soft copy also afterwards. Okay, so whatever we need, I have taken care of that. I have the scanned copies, I'll share with you. So, batao, what has been your experience for these many days? I hope you have been preparing for the prelims. So I know it must have got disrupted in the last couple of days, or last couple of months rather. And I had suggested all of you that for the month of May, please focus on getting ready with your mains examination. Because to maintain your momentum for the prelims, okay, it will be difficult. Okay, some of you have joined the essay classes, that's nice. The month of May was a nice month to focus on the essays. Okay, so if you have not joined, कोई बात नहीं, अपने आप देख लेना. It's nothing that you cannot manage. Okay, my voice is clear, but it is low. बेटा मैंने अपना volume तो अब maximum कर ही दिया है. Okay, let me have one more try in case. Yeah. So the volume is now maximum. Okay, I hope it's fine now. Right, it's already high. Okay, yeah, Lavansh, I'll suggest do look up the answers of the EYM, which is Ease Your Mains, the answers we are posting, but that is not actually completion of the course. It is just giving an idea about what the answers can look like, giving an idea about how you may paragraph, how you may structure. Okay, it's very early days for Educemi to get into all of that in a big way, but eventually I do, plan to get into that. Okay, answer writing also. Okay, so mast आवाज आ रही है Ramdas. ठीक है, that's nice. I think partly technology is responsible, not always. ठीक है, okay, fine. Yes. So good, nice. Others मस्त आवाज क्यों नहीं आ रही है आप देखें अपने सिस्टम में. Okay. ठीक है, ठीक है. So I think most of you have joined. Though some of you had a problem. अच्छा, one more suggestion to all of you: please be online live, because after the class gets over, the process of posting the videos will take time. I might take as much as 2 days to post, because the team is not working the way it was working earlier. Okay, so as much as possible, please attend the live sessions. The next essay class is on 30th and 31st. Last class kind of got disrupted because of a bit of technological problems. Okay, online class, GS answer writing, अभी तो online ही है बेटा. Okay, अभी तो online ही है. Okay, let's get back to what we have come together for. Geographical thought is what I'm starting with. Okay, and you need to have your Adhikari textbook for reference, R.D. Dixit for reference, and even some topics from human geography. और अगर किताब नहीं है तो कोई बात नहीं. I've scanned the pages. I'll share with you, and Sudarshan has said he'll share the soft copy, the PDF of these textbooks. I'll share that with you. Okay, and I will not share it on the Telegram, please. I'll put it on the Vajiram portal. फिर आप portal से करना download. Okay, because Telegram channel में there are other issues which I will not want to get into. Okay, you are Sushrit. Okay, Sushrit. ठीक है, not Sudarshan. Sushrit will post. ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. Okay, so I will tell you the page numbers also. You can have a look. K. Siddhartha, I am not a very big fan for geographical thought from K. Siddhartha. Okay, Adhikari and Dixit is what we are following. I had posted that on the Telegram channel. Okay, so Adhikari and Dixit. So these are the two textbooks. This one, second edition of Dixit, Geographical Thought. Okay, this book, and the second book is Adhikari. This also is the new edition. Sudipta Adhikari, Fundamentals of Geographical Thought. ठीक है, ये दो किताब है, and some topics on culture, some topics related to human development and the rest. You'll have to look up edition 5. ये blue color textbook है, which is by Majid Hussain. Okay, the 5th edition. I hope you have the 3 books. Otherwise, you can wait for Sushit to share the PDF. I'll share that with you on the Vajiram portal. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, fine. So let's get started now. Now, geographical thought mein, what we have done is primarily the topics as they're listed in that syllabus. But the questions that they ask you, they go beyond the syllabus. They do ask a couple of tricky questions. Halaki 2019 mein, we had no questions from geographical thought. One passing reference tha on Hartshorne's scheme of boundary classification. It was less of geographical thought. It was more of political geography, a topic from Morrison theories. Okay, so 2019 was a clean year. We did not have any questions, but the questions might come back in 2020. This year you might have questions to maybe compensate for the questions that they missed out last year. Okay, so be ready. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. There are a couple of incidences of power outage. Please do not leave and abandon me here. Make sure you stay patient for a few minutes. Okay, so we'll get back with the session right away. Okay. By the way, just a question uh, for all of you. How is the connectivity at your place? Wherever you have moved, some of you are in Delhi, some of you have gone back. It's fine. Okay, it's good. And in most places, unless it is some of the interior areas of India, okay, otherwise, in most cases, the connectivity is fine. और 6 बजे ठीक ही रहेगा. Only it gets a bit tricky after maybe 8 or 9 o'clock. Not so good. ठीक है. चलो, we will manage what we can. Geo is around. The power cut. Yes, we all will get recordings, but I need time to upload the recordings. It will not be immediately the next day. I might take 2 days to upload the recordings, but I'll do that. Again, don't depend on recordings. It will be nice if you attend the sessions live. Okay, let's get started now. All ready to go? It's been a long time. All good here? Should we start now? Right. Okay, so slow. For whatever reason, the system is not taking too much of load. The moment we have students logged in, it gets slow. Some problem with. Okay. No, it's nothing of that sort. Some problem with okay the Zoom sessions. Otherwise, the system is running fine. It's just when I switch on the Zoom session, the system okay starts misbehaving. Okay, I will take care of it. I have thought about how to go about it. We'll take care of it. Okay, now talking about geographical thought. Now, please listen to me carefully. I will write, but then don't depend on the writing entirely. Okay, so we were discussing. We were discussing. The last one we discussed was the critical revolution in geography. Okay, the critical revolution in geography. And under this, we talked about the welfare approach and we talked about the radical approach. Can you all see my screen? You cannot see my screen? No whiteboard? What happened? Okay, okay. You cannot see my screen? Yeah, I think something amiss with. Is the screen visible now? Not yet. But it says my screen is being shared. Okay, okay. Let me see what is the problem. Okay, I can do one thing. I can share this screen. Is the whiteboard visible now? Yeah, is the whiteboard visible now? Okay, fine. Check. Write something on this to check. Okay. There is a bit of lag, I know, but can you see the whiteboard now? No? Acha, okay, wait. Wait, wait. Is it visible now? Yes? Okay. Now it's fine. Okay, fine. Chalo, koi nahi. We are just getting used to some changes, some lag. Okay, ठीक, ठीक. Right then, let's get started. So we were discussing that the critical revolution, okay, the critical revolution in geography, this was about welfare geography and was about, okay, the radical geography. And this movement started primarily after 1960s, and it picked up pace. Okay, it picked up pace after 1970s. And of the two, what dominated was the welfare geography, radical geography, which was inspired by inspired by the Marxist ideas. This geography eventually lost its relevance in geography. Lot of lag. So, ठीक है, you listen to what I'm saying, ठीक है? Maybe the writing has a bit of lag. Okay. Keep focusing on, okay, what I'm saying, ठीक है? It's been a while, you have not got used to this. Okay, maybe you focus on what I'm saying. It'll work out eventually. So the critical revolution, okay, this is how we had left bulk of our geographical thought, with radical Marxist geography not getting much of audience, and welfare geography ultimately also grew into environmentalism. Okay, it also grew into environmentalism and the present trends in environmental geography. This is called as critical revolution. This is also called as social relevance revolution. This is also called as social relevance revolution. And the whole objective of this revolution was to deal with the problems of inequalities, to deal with the problems of inequalities, to deal with the problems of poverty. Okay, they're looking at solving problems of unemployment. They're looking at addressing concerns related to racism. Okay, and also conflicts. I said Vietnam War was one of the major influences in the development and shaping of the critical revolution. Okay, so this was the trend of 60s and 70s. Okay, the social relevance revolution, also called as the critical revolution. Okay, more or less. Okay, this is where we have left the class. Now, what happened was that eventually, okay, starting from, okay, I'm discussing what is called as postmodern geography or postmodernism in geography. Some of you understand this word. I have discussed a bit in the class, okay, but I would like to do some discussions here and move on thereafter. Okay. So inequality, poverty, inequality, poverty. We're looking at problems of unemployment, problems related to racism, problems related to conflicts, inequalities. So all of this trigger, in fact, many of the problems that we have here, these are based on the problems of capitalism. Okay, so in many ways, capitalism was blamed for these problems, and that is how Marxist ideology started influencing a lot of the developmental programs. Okay, so now I moved on. I said we are looking at the phase called as postmodernism. Okay, now to understand postmodernism, you must first understand what was modernism. What was modernism? So modernism is the phase associated with the developments during the 17th and the 19th century. Okay, 17th and 19th century, basically 1600s, say, okay, 1600s, right up to, okay, the late 1800s and the first part of 20th century also. The word modernism is related to science. The word modernism is related to, okay, logical positivism. Logical positivism. Modernism is related to industrial revolution. Related to industrial revolution. Modernism was kind of rejection of, it was kind of rejection of subjectivity. And the moment we say subjectivity is being rejected, so you are basically more and more, okay, critical of studies of culture. Okay, cultural studies were not encouraged under this modernism phase. So what is modernism? Modernism was the rise of science. Modernism was the rise of Okay. Thank you for being patient. This is a special celebration by Government of India to welcome all of you with the new session. Okay. So they are trying to test you. Can you all see my screen? The whiteboard is visible to all of you. Okay. Chalo, good, nice. So what I was saying is, okay, that there are some features of, okay, we are starting from critical geography because I've explained what postmodernism is. Once you understand what postmodernism is, I can tell you what were, okay, the developments in the modern geography. Okay, so modernism, okay, modernism. This is something associated with, I said, scientific rationality. It was about, okay, positivism and including the logical positivism. It was about industrialization, industrial revolution. आपको दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है? Can you all see my whiteboard? It's fine. Okay, thank you. So, industrial revolution. Industrial revolution was modernism. Modernism also implied capitalism. It was symbolic, okay, representation of capitalism, and modernism, in a way, was also, okay, critical of cultural studies. It was against cultural studies because cultural studies have the problem of, okay, too much of subjectivity. Studies of culture, behavior, is too much of subjectivity. Okay, so modernism was against this. Or the modernism ka best example is like areal differentiation of Hartshorne and the spatial science paradigm of Schoffer. So whatever was happening under quantitative revolution, we can consider this to be part of our modernism. Okay, is it okay, all of you? Did you understand what modernism was? Modernism was science. Modernism was rationality. Modernism was positivism. Modernism came to be represented by industrial revolution. Okay, and modernism ये phase क्या था? Okay, this is also referred to as the age of enlightenment project. This was the phase of enlightenment. Enlightenment as in that new way of scientific thinking. Okay, enlightenment project or modernism is 17th century, okay, 16th century is 17th, 18th, 19th century, and even the early part of 20th century. Okay, science, okay, was the main focus in this type of geography, and the culmination of this was areal differentiation and the spatial science paradigm of quantitative revolution. Yes, possibilism was not a part of this modernization. Okay, possibilism was not. Okay, so see, when we have a phase of 200 years, does not mean everything was part of that thinking. And remember the idea called paradigm? Paradigm is something like a dominant thinking of a particular time. The dominant thinking, the methods of study, that becomes paradigm, but does not mean everything fits into the paradigm. So possibilism was not typically the modernism. But behavioral revolution was. Remember, behavioral revolution was an extension of quantitative revolution. Okay. Areal differentiation was against spatial science paradigm, but areal differentiation was about empirical positivism. Areal differentiation was against cultural studies. Areal differentiation believed in objectivity. The only difference between areal differentiation and spatial science paradigm was areal differentiation did not encourage generalizations, but spatial science approach encouraged generalizations. यही फर्क था. Otherwise, both are about empirical positivism. Both are about objectivity in geographical studies. Okay, and quantitative revolution is what ultimately became the behavioral revolution or behavioral geography. I'll not say the revolution, because when I say revolution, it also includes the humanistic approach. वो नहीं था. But QR got extended into behavioral geography. Okay, so this was modernism, and a very important point here was capitalism. Okay. Humanistic was not considered to be modernism. In fact, the backlash, now because modernism ignores culture. Yes, generalization is a very important part of modernism. That's why, okay, spatial science approach is considered to be more representative of modernism than areal differentiation. Okay, so if I want to put modernism under 3-4 broad slots, modernism will be about capitalism, modernism will be about scientific rationality, modernism is also about developing what we called as generalizations. And that's the reason why Hartshorne was challenged by Schoffer. Okay, देखा जाए तो areal differentiation had features of modernism. Okay, areal differentiation, it had features of modernism, but it was challenged by Schoffer that it was not scientific enough. Okay, for Schoffer, what is scientific is developing generalizations. What is scientific is developing generalizations. Generalizations are also referred to as meta-narratives. Developing generalizations is also called as the tradition of developing meta-narratives. Developing meta-narratives. Basically, generalizations and meta-narratives are about developing theories. These are about developing theories. Yes, scientific is more close to objectivity. Exactly, yes. Okay, so these are some of the aspects. Okay, so possibilism is not. आप याद कर लो और क्या? You don't have to by heart. Okay, everything. Some things you take it from the way I'm discussing. You ask me questions, I will. Humanistic is not more. In fact, humanistic is the backlash. Beta Nagesh, to hold karo. Let me teach you and understand this. Okay? First, did you understand the idea called modernism or not? Modernism is capitalism. Modernism is scientific rationality. Modernism is generalizations and meta-narratives. Modernism is about theory building. Modernism about theory building. Now, modernism also includes, I mean, we're going toward the political aspect. Modernism was very supportive of secularization. Okay, a modern man was supposed to be a secular man. Okay, and secularization here would also mean, I mean, one way of appreciating secularism is you believe all religions are equal. The extreme type of secularism is rejection of religious beliefs itself. So modernism comes to represent even atheist ideologies. It was against religion. Okay, I mean, in modernism, there is lot of focus on cultural homogeneity. In a typical American cultures, everything becomes homogeneous, all speak the same language, all have the same beliefs, or everybody has the same type of commodity preferences. Okay, the cities all look the same, the roads all look the same. This is homogenization. So modernism was also about homogenization. And what do you think? When we talk about homogenization, who can do homogenization? Can individual people with the cultures do homogenization, or can technology do homogenization? What can do homogenization? Technology. Okay. Who can do homogenization is a very powerful state. The role of the state becomes very, very important. Okay. So there is a military here also. Okay. Military is also extension of modernism. Military power, the state power, yes, globalization is one form of modernization. Exactly. Okay. I hope you understand the idea called modernism now. Modernism, Enlightenment project. In fact, the French Revolution was a very important inspiration for modernism eventually. It happened a bit later, okay, but French Revolution partly was inspired by modernism, and French Revolution also encouraged modernism. Okay, so modernism in that sense. So now what we have is, okay, so I repeat, modernism is capitalism, modernism is scientific rationality, modernism is about generalizations and making laws, modernism is developing meta-narratives and theories, modernism is secularization. Okay, the rejection, the extreme form of secularization will be rejection of religion. That is typically what is the French secularism. Right? And there's a difference between Indian secularism, where we want to believe all religions are equal, and there is a French radical secularism that rejects religion. So modernism was part of secularization process. Yes, homogeneity does have a negative connotation. Yes, okay, because everything gets standardized. Typical what you think of what happens in this mass production systems. Homogenization, everything becomes uniform. Everybody has the same type of designs, the same type of choices in products, the same type of cars. Okay, secularization is the process. Secularism, is an ideology. The process is called as secularization. Okay, so this was modernization. Okay, so what happened was this version of modernization got challenged. Okay, and the challenge against modernization is what is called as post-modernization. It's what's called as post-modernization. So post-modernization essentially is the reverse of all of this. It is rejection of capitalism. It is rejection of extreme scientific positivism. It is rejection of developing theories and generalizations. It is acceptance of cultural diversity. Postmodernism is rejection of homogenization. Postmodernization is rejection of secularization. The rise of, again, the religious values or the acceptance of religious diversity is postmodernism. Okay, so if you look at postmodernism, it is trying to develop as an antithesis to modernism. It is trying to develop as an alternative to modernism, and as a school of thought. This could be considered late 20th century. Okay, late 20th century is when post-modernization as a phase has started. Yes, yes. Modernism is both capitalism and state and the military. Yes, capitalism is economics. State and military have a different role. State and military will not influence capitalism and the market forces. Homogenization means uniformity, and because of uniformity, you can make general laws. Okay. So Cold War is very much modernism. The powerful military might, the powerful states, okay, the capitalism of US trying to assert itself. So it's very much part of the modernization debate. इसको paradigm अभी बोला नहीं जाएगा. It's too early right now. Okay, so can we come back here? Homogenization leads to destruction of culture. Yes, that is why post-modernization now says we have to revive the ideas of religious diversity. We must revive the ideas of cultural diversity. And we must reject capitalism. We will reject scientific rationality in everything because culture has come in. So our studies will include subjectivity. Postmodernism rejects the idea of theory and generalizations. Did you all understand what is postmodernism now? Samajh lo, then we'll see how your answers and the questions can be answered. Okay. Is that okay, all of you? What is postmodernism? Is that fine? Yes, yes, you're right. That's why quantitative revolution is very much, okay, you can say type of culmination of modernization in geography or culmination of modernization influence in geography, correct? Yes, Fordism, absolutely. Fordism, the mass production, okay, dividing the human activities to minute actions. Yes, absolutely. कहाँ जा रहे हो यूनेस्को यार? Control करो. Let's get back to what we're discussing. Okay, where have you gone towards UNESCO right now? Okay, now come back here. So you understand what postmodernism is. Now see, the beginnings of postmodernism. Okay, the beginnings of postmodernism is the radical revolution in geography. Is radical revolution in geography and also the rise of humanistic geography. Okay, the beginnings is the rise of radical revolution, which is the social relevance revolution, and also the humanistic geography, and also humanistic geography. Okay, this is the beginnings of, okay, postmodernism. But then postmodernism, remember, postmodernism is not exactly Marxism. It is influenced by Marxism, but it is not exactly Marxism. The reason being, Marxism, although it was anti-capitalism, like I repeat, postmodernism was inspired by radical revolution. Postmodernism inspired by humanistic geography. But postmodernism is not Marxism. Not exactly. Why? Because Marxism is also one type of generalization. And Marxism also rejected the role of religion. Are you all with me? Okay, I'm trying to scribble some words. I know it's difficult to decipher what I'm writing, but I hope you all are listening to me. Yeah? All good and fine here? Okay, pay attention, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so postmodernism, I repeat, postmodernism was inspired by radical revolution, was inspired by social relevance revolution. Dekha aapne? Okay, keep writing as I speak. It was inspired. Postmodernism was inspired by humanistic geography. Okay, but They say postmodernism is not exactly Marxism, because Marxism is also one type of generalization. See, what does Marxism say? All poverty is the consequence of class divide. A type of theory to ban gaya, generalization ban to gaya aapka. What does Marxism says? Remove capitalism, all poverty has been solved. Okay. All the problems can be appreciated from the perspective of material dialectism. ये theories ही बने ना ultimately. These are generalizations. Okay, so postmodernism is not exactly Marxism, although Marxism was a very important influence in development of postmodernist geography. And Marxism also rejected religion. Is a religion? Yes, you're right. Marx says religion is the opium of the masses. Correct. Okay, so it also rejected religion. That's the reason why Marxism, okay, is not exactly postmodernism. All good here? Okay, so postmodernism में rejection of scientific rationale. But Trump does not fall into any ism that we know. The only ism Trump falls into is what's called as stupidism. Okay, so वो एक अलग school of thought है. Okay, half the parliament believes in that, or maybe we also believe in that. So don't bring in. Okay, it'll require another 50 years to understand what he is doing. Okay, God knows what is inspired by. Okay, his inspiration is primarily the Me Too movement. Okay, so I do not know, or he is the inspiration behind Me Too movement. So let's not talk about Trump at all. Let's get back to okay, our course here. Okay. Okay. Now, okay. Now, if you understand this much, I'm taking you through the textbook now. Okay. I'm taking you through the textbook. I'll share my screen. These are the pages from your Dikshit. Okay. Pages from Dikshit. And can you all see the screen? Is the screen visible to all? Yes? Okay, fine. Okay, this is page 304. Okay. This is page 304. Okay. So, the nature of postmodern geography. Okay, I'm trying to read through okay, this page here. So, postmodernism is a recent movement in philosophy, the art and social sciences. Its distinguishing characteristics क्या है? Okay, skepticism towards grand claims and grand theories of modern era. Yeah, all of you attentive? All of you attentive? Yeah. So postmodernism क्या है? Okay, this is from page 304 from Dikshit. From Dikshit. Okay. So postmodernism is skepticism towards grand claims and grand theories of modern era, and the claim to intellectual superiority. Skepticism as in okay, somebody is cynical about some ideas. Postmodernism stresses openness to a range of opinion. So there is no homogeneity now, no uniformity. Postmodernism accepts okay, a range of opinions in social inquiry, artistic experimentation, and political empowerment. Look at this line here. Can you all see my pointer, all of you? Okay. Can you all see my pointer, the red pointer I'm trying to point here? Yes? Okay. So it says that postmodernism is about multiple positioning of an observer in terms of culture, class, and gender, and has influenced his observation. Okay. So postmodernism is about the aspects of diversity. Okay. Look at this here. Postmodernism as the culture of late capitalism. Okay. So it is rejection of capitalism. It is a phase integral to post-Fordist flexible accumulation. The key words हैं. Postmodernism is post-capitalism. Postmodernism is Fordist ideologies. Is post-Fordist ideologies. Okay. Postmodernism is about cultural diversity. It is skeptical about post-Ford. What did Ford do? Mass manufacture. Okay. Typical Fordist ideology is mass manufacture. Their workers work in assembly lines, and what they produce are all uniform products. What they produce is all uniform products. Okay. So postmodernism, if you can see my screen, okay, it says, in modernism, a very big casualty, this I should have mentioned, in modernism, a very important casualty, a very important compromise was geography did not accept the role of time. So go back to, I've shut that screen share. In modernism, historical geography was neglected. Okay. Because time again is subjective concept. So in postmodernism, like according to Soja, is an important name. Soja, Dare. Okay. So according to Soja, postmodernism was about revival of history and time into geography. Okay. So look at this sentence here. It says that in postmodernism, okay, lay the stress on discontinuity and disjuncture. The homogeneity in the built-up landscape of the era of organized capitalism is contrasted, okay, with heterogeneity, disorganized capitalism. So what was modernism? Modernism was organized capitalism. Postmodernism was disorganized capitalism, no longer a part of an organized structure. Okay. Modernism was about Fordist era. Okay. Whereas postmodernism is the post-Fordist era. Modernism was about homogeneity. Modernism as homogenization. Postmodernism was heterogeneity of economic, social, and political life in the current phase of disorganized capitalism. Ford, Henry Ford. Henry Ford represents mass manufacture. Henry Ford represents assembly line culture. Henry Ford represents uniformity of products and methods and processes. Whereas post-Fordism matlab hota hai rejection of that type of uniformity. Postmodernists emphasize on heterogeneity, particularity and uniqueness of phenomena in the context of time and space. Disorganized capitalism ka matlab hota hai, okay, where everything is not a part of one single design. Okay, you remember typical cars that we had back then, all of them would have same design. Disorganized capitalism mein, it is still industries, but the designs are not uniform for everybody. Okay? Then we call that as disorganized capitalism. Okay, okay, fine. So now we're moving on. So postmodernist geography does not aspire, look at this. Okay. Postmodernist geography does not aspire to generate grand theories of universal application, no theory making. It essentially is a heterogeneous ethos. It is heterogeneous ethos counter to emphasis on consensus or theoretical perspectives. So heterogeneity is a very important element of postmodernism. Okay, so that is why we say in postmodernism, what comes to be emphasized is the cultural diversity also. And look at this, the next page, 306 mein dekho. Postmodernism in geography, okay, postmodern geography started in the 70s. Okay, postmodernism in geography started in the 70s with the introduction of political economy perspective in human geography. Okay, it gave rise to radical or relevance revolution. ये बता दिया मैंने. Okay, so it gave rise to the radical revolution. Okay, the focus of postmodern geography is centered around uneven development in the spatial context. Pick up the right words. Don't read the entire paragraph for now at least. I've explained what postmodernism is. Now I'm showing that to you in the textbook. What is postmodernism? Okay, and finally, okay, say postmodernism is revival of culture. Okay, so the linguistic turn, the study of human geography, to the introduction of hermeneutics. Now see, you remember hermeneutics from human geography? Hermeneutics is about debates. The moment I'm talking about diversity, the moment I talk about variation and heterogeneity, hermeneutics becomes important now. Okay, hermeneutics का मतलब क्या होता है? Hermeneutics का मतलब होता है debates. Okay, you are no longer fixed to only one type of solution. You no longer have one type of formula. You no longer want to generalize in terms of one theory. Okay, so postmodernism is about hermeneutics, which made geography open to experimentation with different modes of representation. Okay, so postmodernism is a kind of interlinking between history and geography. Uneven development, no more homogenization. Yes, hermeneutics is cyclic debates, correct? Okay, that's why I said that postmodernism was inspired by humanistic geography. Okay, all of these are ideas of humanistic geography. All of these are ideas of humanistic geography, hermeneutics. Is that okay? Did you understand what is postmodernism? Okay, Western is typical to humanistic. Political economy, studying the economy from the perspective of political power relations. Okay, political economy is studying the economy from the perspective of the political power relations. Yes, it was rejection of scientific inquiry. Like extreme backlash is humanistic, correct? Vidalian era is possibilism. Vidal, the late 19th century and early 20th century, 1920s, 1910. Vidalian era is possibilism. Okay. So did you all understand what is postmodern geography now? Okay, I'll come back on that. Okay, now come back to, okay, I'm closing this now. Okay. Fine. Now, the question that I'm trying to move towards is, okay, the recent developments in geography. This was the question I'm trying to help you write on. What are the recent development? What are the recent trends in geography? This could be a short note. What are the recent trends? What are the recent developments in geography? Recent trends mein, now this is the structure of, by the way, I hope you all can see the screen. I need to keep asking you every time. Yeah, you can all see my screen? Okay, fine. Yeah. So the recent trends in geography, okay, you start with that the recent trends in geography started with the backlash against quantitative revolution and behavioral geography. Start from here. The recent trends started with the backlash against quantitative revolution and the behavioral geography. The recent trends started with a humanistic geography. Okay. So in this, what happened was we have culture as an important element of geographical study. Okay. It is now typically anthropocentric approach. Okay. And this is also anti-positivism. So this is one of the beginnings of the modern trends in geography. Okay. The second aspect of the modern trends, was the rise of, what did you miss? Anti-positivism, yes. The modern trends, the recent trends in geography starts with the backlash against quantitative revolution. It starts with the backlash against behavioral geography. Batate hain aapko, Rishabh, I'll take you through the discussion. This is like an answer that you can write, and practice. So recent trends mein kya aayega? Say recent trends you can trace to. Okay, I think all of you have, for some reason, got distracted. Can you all focus again, please? Okay. The question is, this is the question. Discuss the recent trends in geography. All attentive? Okay. So the first discussion is the recent trends in geography can be traced to the backlash against quantitative revolution and behavioral geography. It can be traced to the backlash against quantitative revolution and behavioral geography. Okay. And it also includes humanistic geography. The beginnings of modern trends also includes humanistic geography, which includes the revival of culture studies. It includes the revival of culture studies. It includes the revival of anthropocentric geography, where man and his awareness, man and his creativity, the human agency is being studied. Anthropocentric, where man is the focus. Okay. There are three elements to man as a focus: man as an agency, man and his creativity, man and his awareness. Three aspects that make up anthropocentric geography. Okay, man as an agency, man and his creativity, man and his awareness. This is anthropocentric. Okay, and humanistic was also anti-positivism. Is also anti-positivism. Okay. The next influence in the recent one was the social relevance revolution. The next important influence was the social relevance revolution. Okay? The social relevance revolution or the radical revolution. Okay? And in radical revolution, geography was more and more applied in approach. This is the modern trend. Geography was more and more concerned about social problems. Geography was applied approach. Geography was concerned with the social problems. Geography was concerned with inequalities. Geography was concerned with environmental issues, the new form of environmentalism. What are the recent developments? Applied geography, okay, dealing with social problems, conflicts, racism, dealing with inequalities, okay, dealing with environmental problems. Okay, this was radical. And of course, lot of this was part of Marxist approach. This was part of Marxist approach, influenced by Marxist approach. Okay. Now, then you say, okay, that recent trends has been around postmodern geography. The recent trends in geography has been around postmodern geography. अब आप समझा दिया मैंने postmodern geography. Geography, okay, and it is critical of capitalism. It is critical of secularization. Okay, it is critical of homogenization. It is critical of scientific rationality. Okay, geography in its modern trend is anti-capitalism. It is anti-secularization. It is rejection of homogeneity. It is rejection of extreme scientific rationality. And this is largely a late 20th century development. The recent trends includes a rejection of, okay, theorizations. Rejection of theorization. Okay. Rejection of meta-narratives and generalizations. Rejection of meta-narratives and generalizations. Postmodern geography. Okay? Achha. Because of all of this, okay, now geography is trying to develop, okay, more as, it is trying to develop more as a social science discipline. Is developing more as a social science discipline. Okay? Geography and anthropology, geography and sociology, okay? Geography and studying inequalities. It is no longer, so here we say, एक sentence लिख लो, write one sentence, that modern or in recent times, please write down, in recent times, geography does use mathematical and statistical methods. Geography does use mathematical and statistical methods. But it is more accommodative of social science approach, it is more accommodative of. It does use the mathematical methods, it does use the statistical methods, but it is more accommodative of the social science approach. Social science approach, and is developing as a people-centric discipline. It is developing as people-centric discipline. Okay, centric discipline. Geography has embraced culture turn, as in cultural studies are back in geography. It has embraced cultural turn. This approach is what's also called as the new cultural geography. This is the new cultural geography. Okay, geography has embraced, it has embraced culture turn. This has now become the new cultural geography. And this culture turn is different from, Carl Sauer's cultural landscape concept. Is different from Carl Sauer's cultural landscape concept, and is also different from, okay, the cultural studies of Ratzel, of Vidal, okay, and also different from humanistic geography. Is also different from humanistic geography. Okay, so yahan se inspired, so that's why, okay, this is a new type of cultural geography. Okay, likha aapne, all of you. It is not the old anthropocentric geography. Why? Because देखो, Ratzel, Vidal and this approach of humanistic, ये जो old concept था, this was not about the applied human aspects. They were more descriptive. Did you write this much down? Now, beta, I'm assuming you have done a bit of your revision of what is Ratzel, what is Vidal, and what is humanistic geography. Okay. So the new trends in geography include the culture turn that gives us new cultural geography. And why am I using this word new cultural geography is because it is different from Carl Sauer's cultural landscape. Okay. And it is different from Ratzel, Vidal and humanistic geography also. Okay. It is different from Carl Sauer. It is also different from Ratzel, Vidal's possibilism, and also different from the humanistic geography. okay, of Ralph Tuan and the inspired to hai. It is different from the cultural studies of Ratzel, Vidal, and humanistic geography. Why? Why? Because देखो, Carl Sauer's landscape geography considered culture in terms of static entities that don't change. Okay, it considered culture as a static entity. Okay, culture as a static, not dynamic. It is static. Carl Sauer believed that culture is preserved in the cultural artifacts. Keep writing down, please. Carl Sauer believed that culture is preserved in cultural artifacts. Culture is static. Culture does not change. Okay? Whereas Ratzel, Vidal, and humanist geography, they were not applied in approach. They were not problem-solving approach. Carl Sauer's cultural landscape, this considered culture as static entity. Culture as static. It believed culture is preserved in artifacts. Paintings में preserve हो गया. Typical what we call as palimpsest in artifacts. Yes, exactly, correct. Whereas Ratzel's approach or Vidal's approach or humanistic geography, in this, the human aspects were not studied from the problem-solving perspective. They are not addressing inequalities. They are not addressing conflicts. Okay. So the new trend in geography is that geography will study dynamic culture. And because dynamic culture, that is why you cannot make laws. You cannot make generalizations. No meta-narratives, no theorizations. This new geography is studying dynamic cultures. The new geography is studying the problems of inequalities. And the extension of this is studying environmental aspects also. Studying environmental aspects. So the new trend in geography is about studying poverty, unemployment, conflicts, environmental exploitation, poverty, unemployment, conflicts, environmental exploitation. So these are some of the trends of the 21st century. These are the trends of the 21st century. हाँ, उसके बाद जो करना है करो, एपिडेमिक भी ऐड कर देना. It's a very ठीक है, all of you. No, these are not nature of modernism. Why do you say modernism? Modernism में कैपिटलिज्म में कौन सा प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर रहे थे आप? पॉवर्टी का, ठीक है। So this was a short note on what are the modern paradigms, what are the modern trends in the study of human geography. This was a question, the answer to which I have discussed. ठीक है, तो एकदम आपका आंसर फॉर्म में दे दिया मैंने, where to start and where to end. Start by saying backlash against QR, talk about humanistic, okay, geography, then talk about social relevance revolution, okay, then move on towards postmodernism का character जो है, they all have happening together. Then talk about geography more as a social science discipline, geography developing more as social science discipline. Okay, you can use a schematic to write about this. Then do talk about the culture turn, और इसको ऐसे ही रखना point 1 2 3 4 so that your headings are visible. ठीक है, culture turn, and finally talk about what is new in the culture turn. Talk about what is new in the culture turn. What is new is not studying culture as a static entity, and what is new is the anthropocentric approach, keeping the human problems and problem solving in mind. So you can add new, and ultimately the method was the new regional geography. All of this studied under the paradigm of the new regional geography. I think you have understood this, okay? If you want to look up, though it is not organized like this, agar aapko dekhna hai, okay, this is chapter number 20 in your dictionary. It's a long chapter, okay. Chapter 20, page number 354. If you do get look up, page 354, chapter number 20 in dictionary. Okay? Okay, guys, take a short break, maybe 5 minutes break. It is 7:40 by my watch. Be back in 5 minutes. Will that be fine, all of you? Okay? Okay, fine. Chalo, let's catch up in 5 minutes. Okay, then should we get started? Yeah, should we get started? Yes, Soja is one reference. Another one is Dear, D-E-A-R. Even he is a postmodern thinker. You can use some of the names. And the chapter for reference will be the last chapter in your Dikshit. Okay, chapter number 20. And the page number I had mentioned, I forgot. Page number 354. Yes, 354. It's a long chapter, but you can, I mean, if you have the patience, you can look up. But the chapter is not like how I have explained. Okay. It's not like how I've explained, but TK, if you have time to patience, I have given you like an answer form more or less. Okay, let's get started now, please. Now, the next topic I'm discussing is what is cultural landscape of Carl Saar. Okay, what is cultural landscape of Carl Saar? So, can you all see my whiteboard? I have opened up Note now. I hope Note works better. Yeah, okay, fine. ठीक. Okay. Now, right. So, what I'm discussing is Carl Saar's S-A-U, Carl Saar's cultural landscape. Cultural landscape. Landscape. And this is part of a 1920 book called as The Morphology of Landscape, 1925 to be more precise. 25. This book called as okay, Morphology of Landscape. Morphology of Landscape. He wrote a book. Now, Carl Saar's ideas, postmodernism is more spatial. No. Postmodernism is against spatial tradition. Pratap, postmodernism is against the spatial tradition of geography. It's against the spatial tradition of geography. Okay. Now, Carl Saar's ideas is part of what's also called as Berkeley School. तो ये वर्ड्स आपके आंसर में दिखना चाहिए. Part of what's called as Berkeley, Berkeley School. Okay. And ideas of Carl Saar, okay, they were around study of cultural elements. Study of cultural elements. Okay, that make up, keep writing, study of cultural elements that make up the totality of landscape. Okay, it is about the cultural elements that make up the totality of landscape. Dekho, landscape is what? Okay, whatever environment is around us, okay, is called as landscape. traditionally, landscape was seen more in terms of the physical landscape. Landscape is what? Whatever environment is around us. Okay, the land, the rivers, the plateaus, the mountains, the totality of all landforms together is the landscape. And traditionally, landscape was seen more in terms of the physical landscape. Carl Sauer says the physical landscape should be studied along with the cultural elements. Along with cultural elements, okay, and these together now become the cultural landscape. Okay, together become the cultural landscape. Okay, now okay. Now Carl Sauer's cultural studies, they were different from the studies of Hettner and different from the studies of, okay, studies of Ratzel. They're different from studies of Hettner and studies of Ratzel. Because Hettner and Ratzel talked more in terms of, keep writing please, Hettner and Ratzel talked or discussed culture more in terms of how culture impacts nature, and also how culture is impacted by nature. So Hettner or Ratzel may, the focus was more on the environment and culture interaction that gave a region its identity. Okay, the study of culture in Hettner and Ratzel was more in terms of environment and culture interaction that gave the region its unique identity. It was not about studying. It was not about studying, okay, and comparing the regions. It was not about studying and comparing the regions with the purpose of making generalizations. It was not about comparing the regions for the purpose of making generalizations. So now all of you here, did you all understand? Okay, so if it's like this, on one side is Hettner, on one side is Ratzel. Ratzel's and Hettner's ideas also influence possibilism. They also influence Hartshorne. Now, in this study, when they are studying culture, They are studying culture as a part of a region that makes a region unique. That makes a region unique. Okay. Every region has, yes, it is ideographic approach, correct. Every region has a unique identity. Every region is different from another region. And they are seeing culture as the reason why the regions are unique. Whereas what Carl Sauer is doing, Carl Sauer is saying that I am studying the totality of cultural landscape, okay, not to understand how regions are unique, but to compare regions. Okay, so Carl Sauer's approach is not to establish, Carl Sauer's approach is not to establish the uniqueness, but his approach was to compare regions so as to formulate generalizations. Okay. It was, yes, it is moving towards nomothetic. It is moving towards the nomothetic approach. This is very important. And a second very important aspect of Carl Sauer is he is concerned about the process. He is concerned about the process of how culture, okay, changes and influences regions. Okay, so the Hettner, Ratzel, Hartshorne, this is that classical chorology. Hettner, Ratzel, Hartshorne, okay, Vidal's possibilism. It is about establishing the uniqueness of a region. Okay. Culture makes the region unique. It is what we refer to as the classic. Okay. But in Carl Sauer's, yeah, you cannot, okay, some problem with the transmission. Is it okay now? Is it okay now? We will come back to auto scooter afterwards. Okay, fine. Now listen, I'm saying, come back to the previous one. Okay, that Carl Sauer. Okay, I'm repeating. Carl Sauer is the book Morphology of Landscape. Berkeley School is a study of cultural elements in a landscape. Okay, it studies the physical landscape along with the cultural elements. Okay, but it is different from Hettner and Ratzel's cultural studies. Hettner and Ratzel, when they study culture, they are studying culture in terms of man-environment relationship. And in the relationship, their objective was to establish how each region is unique. To establish how each region is unique. Okay, so Hettner's culture, Ratzel's culture, Hartshorne's culture, Vidal's possibilism is ideographic approach. Okay, it is the classical chorological approach. But Carl Sauer's cultural landscape is for the purpose of comparing regions. Comparing regions so as to formulate generalizations. So as to formulate generalizations. That's why Carl Sauer's approach is not ideographic. Carl Sauer's approach is not the classical chorology. Carl Sauer also is regional, but he is not the classical chorology. Okay, that's one. And the second, I said, Carl Sauer's approach is also about studying the process, the mechanism, the process of how culture changes and influences the regions. How culture changes and how culture influences the regions. Okay. Nay, culture changes, but he says the change culture is trapped in the artifacts. Culture change हुआ और culture artifact में preserve हो गया. That is why it is a static approach in that sense. Okay. Now, why I'm saying this word process is because in Carl Sauer studies, a very important theme was study of culture through time. A very important aspect of Carl Sauer's approach is the study of culture through time, and hence this is also referred to as the historical perspective. This is also the historical perspective in cultural studies. Okay? So in that sense, we say this is more about the process compared to Hettner and Ratzel. It's more about the process compared to Hettner and Ratzel. Is that okay, all of you? Is that fine? Okay. Now I am opening up a page from your Dikshit again. I'm sharing my screen. Okay, can you all see my screen? Can you all see my screen? Yes, okay. This is page 117. This is page 117 from Dikshit. Page 117 from Dikshit. Okay, so I'm reading the relevant lines now. Okay, please pay attention to this. Okay, it says, okay, Carl Sauer, okay, in the University of California at Berkeley, published his frequently cited essay, The Morphology of Landscape. Carl Sauer was critical of the concept of geography built around the theme of man-land relationship. This is typically Ratzel-Hettner approach. He was critical of the concept of geography built around the theme of man-land relationship. Okay, that underlined straitjacketing, okay, whatever he says, because see, the older idea was about how does, okay, man-land relationship matter in terms of determinism or possibilism. ये उस पे study है. Okay, how does man impact, okay, or how does environment impact? So Carl Sauer is giving us an alternative model. Okay, he is giving us an alternative model. Okay, so it is the study of things associated in area. Okay, both in terms of physical and cultural. Okay, can you all read this, all of you? Okay, and studies the processes. You can see this word here, process, and the process through which natural landscape got slowly transformed into cultural landscapes. The interaction and how the process, see, it's like this. It's like this. See, the objective, how Carl Saur is different from Ratzel or Vidal is the objective. The objective of Vidal and the objective of Ratzel was about studying environmental determinism or possibilism and who is more powerful. Their objective was about who determines and who is more influential. Okay. But the purpose of Carl Saur was not about this fight about who is more powerful. His focus is about the process in the transformation of the cultural landscape. How the cultural landscape gets superimposed by the activities of man. Okay? I hope you understand how Ratzel and Vidal are different from Carl Saur's ideas. Okay. So the purpose of geography here, it says, okay, that the purpose was development of cultural landscape out of natural landscape. Yes, Ratzel was not so much concerned about the process of how the change happens. This new tradition was different from the old tradition. Okay. Carl Saur's geography, okay, was study of areas, but not as description of areas, as unique occurrence. मैंने बताया आपको, Carl Saur is not ideographic. Carl Saur is not about the uniqueness of a region. Carl Saur is not about description of unique occurrence. For him, what it was, for him, it is about, okay, formulating generalizations to identify the regularities and occurrence from place to place and provide material for formulating generalizations. For Carl Saur, it was about appreciating the nature of modification brought about by human action to the original landscape. Okay, and that's why, okay, it is a historical perspective. It is a historical perspective. This concept of chorology is very different from the chorology of Hettner, Hartshorne, and Ratzel. Okay, Saur's concept, okay, is historical. He has a keen historical insight as viewed as essential method pursued by Saur. Did you all understand this aspect here? So, 3 points. Carl Saur's geography is culture-centric. Carl Saur's cultural approach is not about determinism or possibilism. Carl Saur's cultural approach is about the process, okay, that creates cultural landscape. He wanted to formulate generalizations, and his is a historical approach. His approach is a kind of historical study in geography. It is historical in design. अगर आपको ये 4 पॉइंट याद है, then you are on with cultural landscape. So I'm expecting this could be a short note. What is the cultural landscape concept of Carl Saur? What is the cultural landscape concept of Carl Saur? Page number 117, okay, 118 of Dixit. Okay, so if I'm summarizing it here, Okay, so I'm sharing my screen now. Okay, so sharing my screen. So Carl Sawyer's, what are the 3-4 important words? Study of culture, study of culture, study of cultural landscape as a part of totality of landscape, okay, where landscape is physical plus cultural. However, it is not like the studies of Vidal or Ratzel. Vidal and Ratzel's debate was around determinism and possibilism. It was about the ideographic approach in geography. It was about identifying uniqueness of regions. It's about identifying the uniqueness of regions. Carl Sawyer's approach, Carl Sawyer's approach was not about the uniqueness. He was concerned about the process. He was concerned about comparing of regions to formulate generalizations. Okay, for comparing regions, for formulating generalizations. The study of culture, the study of cultural landscape. It is not like the works of Vidal or Ratzel or Hittner. Okay, it is not about geography as ideographic. It is not geography, study of geography as regions which are unique. So this is a new type of chorology. It is not the traditional classical chorology of Ratzel and Vidal. His focus was to compare regions for the sake of developing generalizations. Compare regions for the sake of developing generalizations. Okay. Carl Sawyer's focus was on study of the process. Process how cultural landscapes develop. Process how cultural landscapes develop. और ये जो process है, this process includes the historical approach. It includes the historical approach. Very important contribution of Carl Sawyer is the study of time in geography. The historical approach, the study of time in geography. Is it okay, all of you? A short note on cultural landscape of Carl Sawyer. All good? So I'm rather slow today because there's a starting off. I don't want to rush through this. I hope you are all making your notes. We'll pick up speed eventually. It'll take me about 4 classes to finish off the geographical thought-based discussions. Yes, yes. Carl Sawyer has elements of both chorology and chronology. Absolutely. Okay. So I can see that some of the students have left the class. Almost 10-15 of you have left the class. I do not know how else to make this process easy for you. Okay, those who stay back, please be patient. I know there are a bit of tech issues. I'll try resolving it again. Okay. Okay, in fact, I'm getting a blackboard installed now. So slowly, gradually, I hope we can overcome these kind of tech issues. Okay, so I can only apologize for these inconvenience, but don't lose faith in the process, please. Okay? Yes, please. To tell me, what are your doubts? Tell me. What are your doubts? Read those 2 pages. One of you will share the book with me. I'll share it with you. Why theories were culture-centric. Theories were culture centric का मतलब समझ में नहीं आया. Yes, geographical thought is all about that. Yes. Yes, we'll share the model answer with you also. The origin of modernism is Humboldt, correct. Postmodernism comes much later. We'll take up feminist geography and the rest. I've just done 2 themes today. Ideally, I should cover about 4 to 5 themes. I've just done 2 themes today. So you said we are slow. We started off on a slow note. We'll catch up again. Tomorrow, I intend to teach something around time geography. I will teach something around some other aspects of postmodernism. I want to touch on some topics related to the new methods in postmodernism. Okay? Even new geography also I'll cover. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. Yes. Okay. Ideography, IDEO. Ideography means study of uniqueness and differences between regions. Ideography, IDIO. Essay class 30th or 31st को है. Okay. Today and tomorrow is geography. On 31st and 30th, we will have the essay class. Social relevance revolution is kind of beginning of postmodernism. It's kind of beginning of postmodernism. Yes, yes. Cultural landscape is both physical and human geography. Correct. So, ये time में whatever I am teaching, make your answer and be through with it. Okay, be through with it. There are no point giving you pre-readings because these are topics you can't understand if you read on your own. इससे अच्छा है कुछ और पढ़ाई करो and read after I have taught you. ठीक है? So it doesn't make sense. Yes, you'll get recordings, but it'll take me 2 days time. I'll give you recordings, definitely, yes. Okay then. Chalo, bye-bye, take care. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. 6 o'clock, we'll continue tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll take completing a bit more range of topics. Bye-bye, take care.